There is a strange thing that happens to people as they grow older. They become very good at doing things, but they become less aware of why they are doing them. They wake up at the same time, follow the same routine, have the same conversations, think the same thoughts, make the same decisions. And because nothing seems wrong, they assume everything is fine. But there is a hidden danger in a life that runs too smoothly. A person can become so comfortable repeating their days that they forget they are the ones creating them. They stop choosing. They simply continue. And there is a difference. A choice is something you consciously make. A pattern is something you repeat without noticing. Patterns are useful. They help us save energy. They allow us to perform simple tasks without thinking. You don't have to remind yourself how to walk. You don't have to calculate every movement when driving. Your brain creates shortcuts because it is designed to be efficient. But efficiency has a hidden cost. The same system that helps you perform daily tasks can also keep you trapped in daily patterns you never questioned. This is how people wake up years later and ask, "How did I end up here?" The answer is rarely one massive decision. Usually, it is thousands of tiny moments where they stopped paying attention. A choice made because it was easier. A decision made because it was familiar. A path followed because everyone else seemed to be walking it. Nothing dramatic happened. No single moment changed everything. Life simply moved forward while they were not fully participating. Imagine getting into a car and driving for hours without looking at the road signs. The car works. The engine runs. The road feels smooth. But eventually you have to ask, am I actually going where I want to go? Many people ask this question only when they are already far from where they intended to be. The frightening thing about autopilot is that it rarely feels dangerous. It feels normal. That is what makes it powerful. A storm gets your attention. A warning sign gets your attention. But a routine can quietly carry you somewhere without resistance. The human brain loves familiarity. Familiar things require less energy. Familiar places feel safer. Familiar choices feel easier. But comfort and correctness are not the same thing. A familiar road can still lead to the wrong destination. One of the biggest questions a person can ask themselves is, am I choosing this? Or am I simply used to this? Because those two things can look identical from the outside. Someone may stay in a situation for years. Not because it brings them happiness. Not because it reflects what they want. But because leaving would require a decision. And decisions require awareness. They require admitting that something needs to change. Many people don't avoid change because they love their current life. They avoid change because uncertainty feels uncomfortable. The unknown asks questions. The familiar does not. The familiar allows you to continue without examining. And sometimes, not thinking feels easier than discovering the truth. There is another form of autopilot that is even more subtle. The way we respond emotionally. Something happens. We react. Someone criticizes us. We become defensive. Someone disappoints us. We become distant. Something goes wrong. We assume the worst. The reaction happens so quickly that we don't even notice there was a choice. But there was. Between the event and the response, there was a moment. A small space. And inside that space exists something powerful. Awareness. The ability to notice. This is my automatic reaction. I have responded this way before. Maybe there is another option. Without awareness, patterns control us. With awareness, we can examine them. Not every automatic response is wrong. Not every routine needs to be destroyed. The goal is not to question everything. The goal is to know what deserves questioning. A person who never reflects becomes a passenger in their own life. They experience events, but they rarely examine direction. They collect experiences without reflection, and they miss the opportunity to learn from them. Think about the difference between a passenger and a driver. A passenger can have a comfortable journey. They can enjoy the view. They can relax. But they are not deciding where the vehicle goes. Many people live this way. They allow circumstances, expectations, and habits to determine their direction. Then they wonder why life feels disconnected. The solution is not controlling everything. That is impossible. The solution is participating. Being awake enough to notice where your choices are taking you. One of the reasons people fall into autopilot is because modern life is designed for speed. Everything encourages immediate reaction. Notifications, messages, updates, opinions, information. There is always something demanding attention. And when everything feels urgent, nothing gets examined deeply. You move from one thing to the next. Respond. Consume. Repeat. Eventually, you become very busy, but not necessarily very intentional. Busyness can create the illusion of progress. A person can spend years moving constantly while never asking if they are moving in the right direction. The question is not, am I doing a lot? This question requires honesty. Because sometimes the answers are uncomfortable. Sometimes you discover that certain habits are not helping you. Sometimes you realize certain goals were never truly yours. Sometimes you notice you have been following a script you never agreed to. But awareness is not meant to create guilt. It creates opportunity. You cannot change what you refuse to see. A person walking through a dark room cannot avoid obstacles they cannot see. Why can't I change? What am I protecting by staying the same? Questions create space. They slow down automatic reactions. They allow you to become an observer of your own life. And that ability is rare. Many people know how to observe the world. They analyze others, judge situations, study events. But they rarely turn that attention inward. They rarely ask, what role am I playing in my own experience? The answer to that question can be transformative, because it reminds you that you are not only experiencing your life, you are influencing it. Every day presents small moments where you can choose differently. Not dramatically, not perfectly, just differently. Small choices matter because life is mostly made of small choices. The biggest changes often begin when someone simply becomes aware. They notice. They question. They interrupt the pattern. They stop long enough to decide. There is a reason many people feel most alive during moments of change. A new environment. A new experience. A new challenge. Everything feels sharper, more noticeable, more real. Why? Because novelty forces awareness. It pulls you out of automatic behavior. But you don't need to completely change your life to experience this. Sometimes you simply need to become present enough to notice the life already happening. Take a different route. Have a different conversation. Ask someone a question you have never asked. Try something unfamiliar. Not because every day must be exciting, but because curiosity keeps you awake. The greatest danger is not routine itself. Routine can create stability. The danger is forgetting that you have the ability to choose. A person can follow the same path for years and still be intentional. Another person can constantly change and still be lost. The difference is awareness. Are you choosing? Or are you simply continuing? That question is worth returning to. Because life does not pause while we figure ourselves out. Days keep moving. Time keeps passing. The patterns we repeat today become the experiences we live tomorrow. And eventually, the life we create becomes the result of what we repeatedly allowed. So take a moment. Look at your days. Not with judgment. With curiosity. What happens automatically? What decisions have you stopped questioning? What parts of your life are truly chosen? And what parts are simply familiar? You do not need to redesign your entire existence overnight. You only need to wake up inside it. Because a person who is aware has something powerful. Choice. the ability to pause, the ability to notice, the ability to decide. A life lived consciously does not mean every moment is perfect. It means you are actually there for the moments that matter. You are not just moving through life. You are participating in it. And perhaps the greatest freedom is not having complete control over where the road goes. Perhaps it is simply opening your eyes and realizing you are the one holding the wheel.